I feel a bit nervous. I don't really normally make videos like this. I do believe in sharing all my travel experiences honestly and authentically, and really that's all I can do. So what I'm going to do is tell you everything that happened, the good and the bad, and maybe give other women who are thinking of traveling there my honest experience so they can add that into their decision making as well. I just want to say up front, it was my decision to go to India and I take full responsibility for that. So I visited Kerala in the south of India about a year ago. Now I was there with a really big group of people and there were some intense moments, but I felt very safe. So I decided I would go back and see more of India. It took me about 6 months to decide that I was definitely going to go to India. In that 6 months, I was talking to other women who had been there and gathering their stories and their advice. I knew it was important to be as safe as possible, and it was on me to take every safety precaution possible, so I decided to book a tour. To me, this meant I would always have a driver and a guide with me, and I assumed I would be part of a group of people. The tour I booked was a 13-day tour, taking me to Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, Udaipur, Mumbai, and Goa. And everything was arranged by the tour company. That's the hotels, the drivers, the guides, the itinerary, absolutely everything. When I arrived in Delhi to start the tour, I was a little surprised to realize it was just me on the tour. But in the back of my mind, I thought, that's okay. That means that the driver and the guides have less people to worry about, and they'll be a lot closer to me at all times. So if anything, maybe it'll make it safer. It didn't. Let's start off easy and talk about the money and the scams. Because when I was in Delhi, Agra, and Jaipur, I was seen as a walking wallet, and it was dehumanizing. I want to tell you about so you can avoid them. In Delhi, the guide started talking about pashminas, the scarf wrap kind of things. And he was really setting the scene. He was talking about the people who make them and how they live in poverty and all this kind of stuff. It's really hard for them to make money. Shortly after that, he starts saying how we can support them by going to this textiles museum. And I said to him, no, I don't want to go there. And he kept on me about it and kept bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up. And I thought it's easier just to go and leave. So I said to him very clearly, we can go there. You're telling me it's an actual textile museum, but I'm telling you, the second somebody tries to sell me something and I feel pressured to spend money in that shop, I will leave. And he said, no, nobody's going to try and sell you anything. And part of me is thinking, I'll go and I'll find out if he's telling the truth or not, and then I can tell you, right? So you know what's going to happen and you can really avoid it. So we go to the shop, they take me straight down into the basement. It is not a museum, there is no cultural aspect, bringing out all these pashminas and laying them out in front of me. And as soon as the guy starts talking about price, I get up and I say to him, I told you I didn't want to be sold anything. And I start leaving up the stairs at a rate of knots. He's chasing after me, yelling at me. Now, the problem here is that when these things occur, the people that take you there, they get a kickback. So any money you spend there, they will get a percentage of that in their pocket. So they have a real incentive to take you to places you don't want to go so they can get money out of you so that they can earn extra money off you. Anyway, the shop guy is yelling at me, they're yelling at me. We get in the car, we leave. He still expected a tip at the end of that. I was also taken to restaurants where the prices were significantly increased for me as a tourist. So once this started to happen and I started to see this pattern of how much I was paying for food and realizing this isn't right, I said to the guide and the driver, I'm not going to anywhere you guys take me to eat anymore. You're not actually taking me to places that are best for me as a visitor. You're taking me to places that are best for you as somebody that wants my money. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the scams have stopped, the sexual harassment has started, and it only gets worse. I start to notice men following me and taking photos of me without my consent. And they're taking photos even when I say no. By this time, we're in Jaipur. I wake up in the hotel, open my bedroom door, my hotel room door to go downstairs and get some breakfast, and there is a key to my room just hanging in the lock outside of it. Anybody could have entered that room at any point during the night and done whatever they wanted to me. That really scared me. That really put me on high alert. And from that point on, I really started barricading doors. And I'm glad I did, because something similar happens again. I'll tell you in a second. So I tell the guide and I tell the hotel about it. And I say, this is unacceptable. You cannot do this. I'm a woman traveling by myself. It's extremely dangerous. I don't think that got through. I don't think, yeah, that doesn't feel like it had any impact, but what are you meant to do? So we make our way to the Hawa Mahal. It's in the old city in Jaipur. It's a very popular place to visit. There were some other tourists there, but I was standing across the road from the main structure. And at this point, I'm just trying to take some photos of it and film it a little bit for my vlog I'm trying to make. And a crowd of men form around me, all with camera phones out. I'm just encircled by them, and everyone's just doing whatever they want. They're getting closer and closer, and they're photographing, and I don't want this. I'm saying no, 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 like this, trying to make hand gestures in case they can't understand me. It's clear in my body language, I don't want this. I am hiding. And I look at the guide and I'm like, help me. And he comes over and the men are arguing with him now. And it feels like he owns me. My voice saying no doesn't mean anything. So they're just conversing with him. And I know they understand English because they're speaking English to him, saying, come on, why not? Just one. She can take a photo. She can take a photo. Just one. And they're being really aggressive. We get in the car. I lock the doors. I say, can you please just drive? Let's just go. We take off. And I just kind of notice something to my left. I look out the back left window over my shoulder and there is a car full of men chasing us. I don't know if the driver saw. I don't think he did. They were hanging out the windows, phones out, yelling at me, driving really recklessly. And I thought, they're going to crash into this car. But the best thing I can do, what can I do? Just look ahead and ignore them. Maybe if they think I can't hear them, they'll just leave me alone. So we take off through the traffic. They go away and we just keep going. By this stage, I was having daily constant thoughts of, you should just leave. Why aren't you leaving? But when you are in these situations by yourself, your mind starts to do funny things and you tell yourself, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe I'm being self-centered and egotistical. Maybe they are just curious. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it'll get better. So I just keep going. I was so relieved to leave Jaipur and get to Udaipur. And as soon as I got there, I just felt myself relax, and it made me realize how tense I had been over those first 3 or 4 days. Now, my driver in Udaipur, Sohan, he was amazing. He made me feel so safe right away. The hotel staff, they were all men. I was the only woman there. It could have easily been very intimidating. Again, they were incredible. I had the best guide, Singh. He was amazing. I just want to make this clear that my experience wasn't all men in India are bad. It was just I did have a lot of bad experiences and they were all with men. So one of the last activities for me to do in Udaipur was a sunset cruise on this lake. So they dropped me off there. Singh said his goodbyes. He was done for the day. The driver, Sohan, was waiting for me. I felt safe because there were a lot of other tourists in the waiting area and there were security guards. I sat down just waiting quietly by myself and a man approached me. He started off so polite. He said, "Excuse me, madam. Do you mind if we take a photo together?" And I said, "I'm sorry, but no." And I was very polite but firm with him. He didn't want to hear no, and he didn't take no for an answer. So he started reaching for his phone, just pulling it out already, going, "No, come on, why not? You can just take one photo." And I start trying to hide and cover myself. I'm sat on a chair. I feel very cornered. I'm feeling very uncomfortable. He just keeps going and he's pulling out this phone and he's going, come on, just one photo. You can do a photo." And he's shoving the phone so aggressively in my face. I start screaming. I figure I need to cause a scene. Surely security or one of the other tourists will come over. I know I would. So I kept yelling. I said no, I told you no, and I'm screaming and yelling and covering myself. He got the hint and stopped, but during that time when I was yelling, not one person did anything. Security didn't do anything. No other tourists there did anything. I thought to myself that night, just get out of here. But again, those same thoughts play through your head. Maybe it's not going to be so bad when I get to Mumbai. So I get it together, pack my stuff and make my way to Mumbai. And I'm so glad I did because Mumbai was without a doubt the highlight of my trip. I realized again that I was just so tense. I'm sure when I met Anand, I was the worst version of myself. He was so lovely and so kind and just such a good man that he allowed me to relax completely in Mumbai. He is a girl dad. He has 2 beautiful daughters, and I think when you're a woman, you can sense that in a man. And he just made me feel so at ease. I had the best time in Mumbai. Looking back, I wish I had left in Mumbai because when I got to Goa, that was when it just got worse. This was when it was really bad. So we had some sightseeing around Goa in the morning, just exploring some churches and some old parts of the town and things like that. And then they drove me back to my hotel. And at this point, they dropped me off and they say, okay, we'll be back in a couple of days to pick you up and take you to the airport. And I'm completely by myself. And I didn't realize that was going to happen. And I wouldn't recommend ever being by yourself. So I thought I would just go to a cafe that was right next to my hotel. It was so close. On the way back, I was carrying an umbrella. I always carry an umbrella with me. It gives me some shade and some cool, but more importantly, it actually gives me a sense of control. There were some men coming towards me on the street and I saw them. I was already hiding under the umbrella. It didn't stop them. They started sexually harassing me on the street, catcalling me, saying some really uncomfortable things to me. I told them to stop. I said, no, I'm not interested, stop. And I just kept walking, made my way back to my hotel as quickly as I possibly could. I tried to calm down a little bit because I was trying to film this video, right, about Goa. And I thought, you have to get out there and do your job, you know, so what? Some men said some stuff to you on the street, that happens anyway, grow up, get over it. So I thought, I'll head down to the beach at sunset. As soon as I stepped foot out of the hotel onto the sand, about 4 or 5 men start sprinting towards me. Photo, madam, photo. And it's so aggressive. And I figured, just ignore them. They will go away. Don't even acknowledge them. And they just keep running and chasing me. So I spin around and I'm trying to hide because they're already taking photos. And I say, no. They don't stop. So I pick up the pace and just a little bit down the beach, I see this house thing. I don't know what it is. And I figure if I can just get around the corner there'll be something between them and I can just keep moving around that house and just get away from them. But as soon as I turn the corner, I run into a group of about 30 men. And as soon as I see them, my heart drops. And as soon as they see me, they start screaming and the phones all come out. So now I've got 4 or 5 guys chasing me from one side. I've got about 30 men here. They're all yelling at me, starting to move towards me, starting to crowd around me. Phones out, and I just think, I do not want this to happen. How do I say no any louder? How do I stop these photos being taken of me? How do I stop these men from forming a crowd around me? Because that's when the touching starts. They want to put their arm around you. They want to get close to you. If you just comply and say yes, all of a sudden you're getting passed from man to man, taking photo. I don't want any part of this, and I'm trying to get away from them. So now I'm trying to get away from all of these men. I turn the corner again. There's one man sprinting from this way. There's another 3 sprinting from this way. By this stage, there's about 40 men chasing me on the beach. And I am terrified. I am so scared. It is a pack mentality. And it just takes one to start is the thing. So I just run. I take off sprinting as fast as I can with men chasing after me. And I make it back to the hotel. I go upstairs to my room, lock myself in, barricade the door, and I stay in that room for 2 or 3 days. And later that night, someone tried to get into my room. I was so messed up. I was just in my bed, just watching TV on my laptop, and I heard the keycard sound and somebody turning the handle on the door and trying to push the door. I had stuff in front of it. I had it dead bolted from the inside. I immediately picked up the phone and called the reception, yelling at them. Someone's trying to get into my room. You need to help me. Come up here and stop them. I need help. They hung up, and then a couple of minutes later, somebody called me and said, oh, sorry, it was a misunderstanding. My amazing driver came back a couple of days later and took me to the airport, and I cannot tell you how relieved I was to be leaving India. You know, a really strange part of all of this is that I'm being sexually harassed online. I'm not even in India anymore, and Indian men are still sexually harassing me. I feel like I can't escape from it. I feel like it is still happening now, because it is still happening now. I moderate the comments on these videos, so if anybody says anything inappropriate, those comments are deleted and the people leaving them are blocked. It doesn't stop people. And the worst ones get caught by the YouTube filters, and they're really disgusting. Men send me the most disgusting things on DM and email, and it's awful. You're in your own home being sexually harassed by these men. So at the end of the trip, I thought, wow, a lot of bad things happened. Maybe you shouldn't post these videos. And after I posted the first couple I started to be sexually harassed online, I thought, you shouldn't post anymore, or you should delete them. Why would you keep putting them up if you're getting sexually harassed? And then I realized that that's exactly why you have to do it, because it's the truth. It's what's happening. What is the point in trying to hide it, trying to conceal it, trying to alter the truth of what happened? So for me, I just feel like the best thing to do is be really honest about the experience. I hope that that is helpful to other women. This just feels weird. I just feel weird. I feel really uncomfortable. I will put as many links to as many resources as I can in the video description for you. Anything that I think you need to know or might help you. I'll also have some links to all the other videos I made if you want to watch those and see what the experiences were like, the good and the bad. I didn't know it at the time what was going to happen the rest of the way, so I did edit some things out of the first Agra Delhi Jaipur episode, but yeah, I wish I had left them in there now. I just had thought maybe I was being dramatic, and so I cut them all out. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, so there you have it. That was my experience in India.